So in Genesis 6, the Bible speaks of a rebellion of heavenly creatures, which consisted of many of the host of heaven taking human wives for themselves and begetting a unique kind of offspring. So who are the Nephilim? You've all sort of assumed that the Nephilim are the offspring. Is that right? I'm not saying you're wrong to assume that. I'm just saying let's sort of get into a definition of Nephilim, okay? And we'll do that through looking at other times in the Bible where they're referenced. So Numbers chapter 13, verses 32 and 33. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land that they had explored. And they said, the land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. So the Nephilim have descendants. Who are those descendants? Anak. These are the descendants of Anak. And then the Emim, a large and numerous people as tall as the Anakim, formerly inhabited it. Like the Anakim, they are usually reckoned as Rephaim, though the Moabites called them Emim. So this is complicated, okay? So here we go. A few different things mentioned here. Emim, how are they described? Large and numerous. And how else are they described? As tall as the Anakim, right? Like the Anakim are the descendants of Nephilim, okay? So just follow me here. Anakim, descendants of Nephilim. The Emim are large and numerous as the Anakim. Like the Anakim, the Emim are usually reckoned as what? Rephaim, okay? These are different words of describing the same kinds of figures. You see what I'm saying? The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. This is all later stuff in the Bible, remember? But the Emim, they're large and numerous, as tall as the Anakim. Like the Anakim, they're reckoned as Rephaim.
What is Rephaim?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. What is Rephaim? Deuteronomy chapter 3. King Og of Bashan was the last survivor of the giant Rephaim. His bed was of iron and was more than 13 feet long and 6 feet wide. It can still be seen in the Ammonite city of Rabbah today. So who are the Rephaim? Giants.
So when we're talking about giants, we're not talking about like 40 feet tall. It seems like we're talking about like twice the size of a normal human.
That's how it's being described here. Yeah. Let's keep going. So Joshua chapter 11. At that time, Joshua came and wiped out the Anakim from the hill country, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the hill country of Judah, and from the hill country of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their towns. None of the Anakim was left in the land of the Israelites. Some remained only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod. What's important about Gaza and Gath? The Philistines and the champion named Goliath comes from Gath, and he was over 9 feet tall, right? So the Nephilim, what are they? Based off of all of this biblical data that I've just given you, what are they?
Giants.
They're giants. They're giants. They're giants. What does this have to do with the sons of God coming into the daughters of men? So the sons of God come into the daughters of men, and they bore offspring. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men and bore to them offspring. What?
If they were there after the flood?
They were there in the days of Noah and also afterward, right?
Isn't that why
They were there after the flood?
Yeah.
Well, this is what we're describing. We're describing Rephaim, Anakim, Emim. This is all having taken place after the flood too. Deuteronomy and Goliath. Who kills Goliath? David. It's another example where I want to take you beyond the Bible, and I want to show you that there's a collective consciousness, right? There's a collective memory about what is happening in the ancient world. So this is a Sumerian story about the Apkallu. Anyone heard of the Apkallu before? Maybe if you've been on the internet and wacky world stuff. So it's the Sumerian story of pre-flood divine beings who share knowledge with humankind to advance the human species and kickstart civilization. So the seven sages, they teach humankind the arts, sciences, craftsmanship, warfare, and more. This knowledge is revered and thought to be a blessing by Mesopotamian cultures. The highest gods condemn the sharing of knowledge with the humans, and the Apkallu are sent to the abyss. Descendants of the Apkallu are the giants, and they live in the post-flood world and continue the legacy of pre-flood societies. One of these descendants, Gilgamesh, is said to be 2/3 Apkallu and is considered the founder of many ancient kingdoms. So what we're getting at here is, why do the leaders of the ancient world, why do they have a right to their leadership? Well, they're descended from the gods, of course, and that gives them the right to rule the ancient world, okay? This is what we would call half human, half divine offspring, who are the great kings of the world. So Gilgamesh, here's a statue of Gilgamesh here. What is he holding? A lion. He's holding a lion as though it was a cat. Achilles, he's a central figure in Homer's Iliad, right? He's a son of a sea goddess, and he's half human, half divine. He's not conceived of to be a giant in that story. He's not said to be a giant in that sense. He's said to be a great warrior, a demigod warrior, and he's also a Greek hero, right? And the father of the founder of the city of Rome itself is said to descend from a goddess, Aphrodite, okay? This is why Caesar, the line of Caesars, they have claim over the throne, because Julius Caesar is descended from a god. Because his ancient ancestors,
In his own words only, or from the collective?
well, according to the mythology of Rome, this is the lineage that comes from the gods. So this is the idea: is you have these offspring, these divine offspring of these sons of God, who are strong and mighty and have the power and will and ability to found civilization and to create it in their image with their iron fist and uplift society to an ascension, right? To this power, to this greatness. That is what is going on in the ancient mythologies. So the Nephilim. So this is the unholy union of heaven and earth, out of which the violent kingdoms of the world emerge. So the story of the Nephilim is the biblical retelling of what all ancient cultures already agreed upon. The great kingdoms of this world were founded by giants, the half-human offspring of the gods. In the biblical account, however, these mighty men of old were not to be honored or respected as the founders of civilization. These figures were aligned with the enemy and part of everything that was wrong with the world. For the people of Israel, the later descendants of the Nephilim were the giant clans living within the Promised Land who were eventually vanquished in Joshua's conquests. So that's how this story will connect later on, is as Israel goes into the Promised Land, part of what they have to do is they have to take down the giants. They have to bring judgment upon the violent kingdoms that have now emerged again. So that's also the question: is the flood seems to be a response to this event and the kingdoms that they have borne. But it says, and the Nephilim were there also afterwards, and you have all these descendants from the Nephilim. So that also gets into questions of worldwide flood versus regional flood. The corrupted offspring of the sons of God and human women. They're giant demigods, warriors of the prehistoric world. They are the tyrant founders of the ancient roots of civilization. So again, it's answering the question, why is the world so bad? The answer to that question is all of the kingdoms of the world, they're founded by spiritual rebels having union with human rebels and giving birth to corrupted abomination offspring that are the most ancient rulers. So the root of human society is this rebellion. So they're the forebears of the Rephaim and Anakim giant clans. They're considered demonic entities upon the earth. The reason Genesis, this is Michael Heiser, the reason Genesis 6:1-4 is in the Bible is because the writer sought to target the deeply held religious beliefs of Mesopotamia and most pointedly the myth of Babylonian superiority. These accounts of the pre-flood history in ancient Mesopotamian and Jewish sources should be regarded as the result of ancient debates. Not only direct borrowings took place, but also creative interpretations, especially on the Jewish side. These were deliberate inversions of the Mesopotamian traditions. The point was to turn the Mesopotamian belief system on its head, to make sure that the Israelites and the Jewish readers would know that what happened between the sons of God and the daughters of humankind was not something that bettered humanity. It was the opposite. A transgression of heaven and earth that would corrupt humankind and produce a lineage that would later become a threat to the very existence of Israel, Yahweh's people and portion. So, just to reiterate, the idea is you have the sons of God plus the daughters of humanity equals the Nephilim, who give birth to the kingdoms of this world. Why is this relevant? It's relevant because it's in the Bible, but how is this relevant to us today? How is this relevant to us today? When we talk about demonic powers, this is the origin story of that, okay? It's not that, you have to read into the Bible a story of a spiritual rebellion. It's in the Bible. The moment at which the rebel host of heaven become demons, become demonic entities, and corrupt the world is in the scripture. So Justin Martyr is a 2nd century philosopher and church father, apologist, an amazing church father. Again, this is in the 100s. Okay, so just about maybe 70 to 100 years after Jesus. This is what he says. When God created the world, he gave humanity dominion over earthly things and organized the heavens to support the growth of crops and the changing of seasons. He established divine laws and entrusted humanity and everything under heaven to the care of angels. However, these angels transgressed their appointment. They became infatuated with women and had children with them, known as demons, and turned their attention away from their divine duties. The angels began to dominate humanity using magical writings, fear, and punishment to assert control. They taught people to perform sacrifices, burn incense, and pour out libations, things the angels themselves desired after being consumed in their lustful passions. In doing so, they introduced humanity to acts of violence, wars, adultery, indulgence, and all manner of wickedness. He, again, is summarizing the whole point of this entire meeting, okay? Of what I'm trying to get at is what is happening in Genesis chapter 6 is the foundation layer for this is what is wrong with the world. Not just Genesis 3, but on an institutional, worldwide, societal level, humans and spirits partaking in corruption together, okay? And giving birth to giants, right? Giants who rule, who need to be vanquished by the people of God. The Hebrew corresponding to the Greek word for demons is shadim, which sometimes means something like shades. Most often in Greek literature, the word daimon is referred to any sort of spiritual being who asserts some sort of authority upon the world of humanity. In the New Testament, the word daimonion is used in reference to those who are called impure spirits or bastard spirits. Okay, yeah. So what is a bastard? It's an illegitimate son. So the identity of the demons. What could be said about the demons? Pulling together the various data points from the biblical and extra-biblical sources, at the very least, we could say that demons are spiritual beings that work to sow mayhem and discord. They are rulers and agents of evil in the kingdom of darkness. Their association with the dead Nephilim spirits is poignant, given that the Nephilim are the tyrant warlords of old who are understood to be the primarily responsible for the immense brokenness of human society. In the New Testament, to be possessed by a demon is to be so enthralled by the powers and spirits of the world that one's own humanity is exponentially stripped away. So what is this weird story in Genesis 6? It's the origin story of a system of spiritual rebellion, a kingdom of darkness. This is the world that will undergo the flood, the remnants of which we still deal with today, and continues to be conquered by Joshua, by David, and by Jesus. So Paul says in Ephesians chapter 6, our struggle is not against enemies of blood and flesh, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. So there's a spiritual war is what you should be taking away from Genesis 6. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, as you say that, what comes to my mind is like giants could mean more than just like big humans. It could like, giant corporations of today and like America and like
you just started us down a road that can go so far. So we can't get into it, but everyone keep in mind what he just said. Everyone keep in mind what he just said. Yeah, giants are not just flesh and blood. That's a really, really great point.